You're on Pure 24/7 Radio. It's Dan here on Pure Brunch, and it's time for our occasional brunch blether. Occasional because it's just whenever we get around to doing it, really. A chance to have a chat with various people who are doing all sorts of different things. And today we are going across the water. We are going stateside to just outside of Nashville, where we find singer-songwriter, all-round wonderful human being. It's Phil Laeger. Hi, Phil.
Hey Dan, how you doing?
Yeah, doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. No, it's great to have you on the show today. And those who have been listening to the show for the last few weeks will know we've been playing one of your latest tracks on the show, In the Love of Jesus, and we'll chat about that in a minute. But just for those who haven't come across you, just give us a quick pencil sketch of who is Phil Laeger.
Yeah, so I am, as you already said, I live outside of Nashville with my family. My wife Sarah, who is a furniture restorer, and my three kids. And yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter. I grew up in the Salvation Army. My parents were Salvation Army officers, and yeah, I'm an independent singer-songwriter, musician, worship leader, freelance, whatever is related to music. That's pretty much my life.
Yeah, and that's taken you all around the world, isn't it?
It has, yeah. We've my wife's actually from Australia. We lived in Australia for 7 years. I worked for the Salvation Army doing youth and music stuff down there, and have just really had a great opportunity to travel and see a lot of what God is doing, particularly in the Salvation Army around the world. But yeah, just through music and worship ministry, been a huge blessing to do that for sure.
Yeah, and a lot. I mean, you say worship ministry. A lot of that is around working with young people, isn't it? Working along young people. So, what kind of things are you involved in at the minute, or with that kind of ministry?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I started, as I mentioned, I grew up in the church, so I started out just, I guess, as everyone does when they get into their teenage years, wanting music that spoke to me, and so had these, s- hymns and Salvation Army songs I grew up with, and wanted to sort of make those accessible for my generation, I guess, and so started to put together some arrangements that were more geared towards young people, and yeah, was a part of a band called Transmission and just a whole heap of different projects that had to do with, as you said, music ministry to young people, really speaking the language. Now, I'm firmly outside of that demographic now, so I'm speaking a foreign language and I'm learning the foreign language of music ministry to youth. But yeah, still have a heart for kids, youth to come and yeah, just experience God in a language musically that they understand.
Yeah, and this may be a big question for you. So over here recently, there's been some reports about a growth from the Gen Zs or Gen Zs attending church, and not
Absolutely.
just attending church, but got a real passion for that. Are you seeing the same over in the States there?
I think so. And it's really interesting. I was listening to Mark Sayers, who's in Australia. I'm not sure if you're
Yeah.
familiar with Mark, but he was just working through all of the different statistics that have come to light recently. And I think it's across the board in Western countries a resurgence of interest in not nominal Christianity, but actually people are really interested in young people are really interested in authenticity and just really following hard after Jesus and I think that's hugely encouraging. At the same time, you have people realize, who formerly would have considered themselves Christian, realizing that it hasn't really made an impact in their life, and so it's this weird kind of uh, 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 yeah, whatever you call that thing going on, where young people are interested, but people that formerly, yeah, were just holding on nominally or kind of letting it go. So
Mm.
that's really interesting and something to pay attention to.
Yeah, and I mean, you said you're, learning the language of these young people. I'm trying to do that myself as well. And so, how does
Yeah.
that impact even with music ministry? Does the music kind of help unpack that language a bit more?
Well, I used to think that youth meant hype. And I think there's a trap of getting into, and for sure, young people have more energy just naturally than old older people, which I include myself increasingly. But I think what people are longing for, no matter what their age, is that authenticity and a kind of a real encounters with God. What I have seen, no matter if I'm leading a group of retired people or young people, is just an unwillingness to sit through the motions and just go through the way things have been, just because that's the way we have done it, and just a real desire to actually have a supernatural encounter with God that is enabled by music to a certain extent. Um, so yeah, that's my little take on it. There's so much you could say about that, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And listeners will know I'm, working alongside a lot of church groups, and the conversation normally quite early on is, we're not getting any younger, but we're not seeing the younger people coming.
Right.
And you kind of touched on it earlier on there. It's not all about being all bells and whistles and drums and guitars and all that kind of thing. That there's a place for that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're not saying that everybody has to throw out the organs and do these kind of things. You've spent some time early on taking some of those older hymns and just maybe just tweaking
Right.
them slightly or just making them accessible to it. There's some great language within those older hymns, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think we do a huge disservice to ourselves and to our young people when we throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Mm.
People want depth. We all long for depth. We all long for authenticity,
Mm.
and some of those older songs have both of those things in spades. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which kind of leads me almost seamlessly, as if this was planned, in though it's not, into the song that we've been playing of yours lately. This "In the Love of Jesus," which is I think you call this a reimagining, isn't it? So both you and I grew up with this song within the Salvation Army. It's a beautiful song and a beautiful tune. And tell us the story of this, because you were asked to do something new with it, and
Yeah.
it was a bit of a challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I have, as you mentioned, been taking hymns and Salvation Army songs for a long time and reimagining them. There are some that I have hesitated just because of my personal experience with them and because they've meant so much. I've hesitated to do anything with them. One of the songs is this, as you mentioned, in the Love of Jesus, which lyrically and musically, I grew up playing the piano and playing in a brass band, and so I mean, there's some songs that you just don't want to touch. So when I was approached to arrange this one or reimagine it, I knew I wouldn't be able to do it justice. I basically wanted to be inspired by it and write something that would capture the message of the song. Which is the message of the song is that no matter where you are, no matter how far you've gone, Jesus was not very far from you.
Yeah. So what was the whole story of the reimagining then? Because you took some of the old song, but you've taken it in
I
a different direction, haven't we, slightly?
Yeah, well, so if anyone is familiar, the verses of the original song mention a lamb, and a pilgrim, and a child. Now, two of those three are don't really we don't talk about lambs and pilgrims very much in our modern context. So
Yeah.
I wanted to capture just the thought of a lost boy and a lost girl, which everybody can relate to.
Mm.
Just looking for something. So. But when you get to and so I reimagined a man who is addicted, remembers something of his childhood at Sunday school, that he remembers a message. We all have those little things, those seeds that happen in our childhood that we come back to. And then for the second verse, I went on to talk about a girl who's trying to be recognized, in our day and age of algorithms and social media and getting people to like. And, there's this whole thing to get caught up into. It ends up being empty. And so the two thoughts are a man who's maybe addicted to a substance and a woman who's addicted to recognition. And just the fact that in both of those situations, we can all find ourselves wanting something that only can be found in the love of Jesus.
Mm. That's absolutely beautiful. So I mean, you've released that out. Obviously, it's in the wild for people to listen to and play. I mean,
Yeah,
what's your hope for that? Do you think, hope that this will be sung in churches, or is this more of a devotional, personal reflection kind of song? What's your hope on it?
I I think the latter. I mean, I'm happy for it to be used anywhere. Um, I, I was approached by the Salvation Army in the States, the national headquarters for their war cry publication,
Hmm.
and that was the impetus behind me creating this to begin with. So it coincided with Easter, the release of it, and just getting the message out, to whoever is going to listen to this, that you what you really are looking for is in the love of Jesus. Now, if people want to use it as part of their worship set, I imagine it might work better as uh, a ministry type song where it
Hmm.
is sung to people. Um, but hey,
Yeah.
who am I to say
Yeah.
what people use it for? Yeah.
So what was the reaction from the people at national headquarters? Because they may have come with an idea in mind about this. You've probably taken it different to what they were expecting. What's been the
They
reaction?
I think they said they were pleased. They said they were pleased with it, and I have got great reaction from it. Um, Initially, when people heard that I was doing, some folks heard that I was doing an arrangement, I wanted to set expectations that this is not going to be like the original in terms of style.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been really pleased with the reaction. They printed the lyrics in the latest copy of the War Cry, and a QR code where you can like listen to it
Brilliant.
anywhere online. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to have that support. And really, I suppose in terms of what you've been doing lately, that's sort of been the one that's got words with it, because a lot of stuff you've been doing lately has just been back to instrumental piano again, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've been playing piano since I was 5 years old, and it's really my way of, I guess, it's just very cathartic for me, just on a personal level, to just play the piano. And so I've released two projects recently. One is a solo piano project that is my own compositions called River, and the other one, while I was in the studio, we had a little bit of extra time, and I am a child of the 80s, and so I have all these 80s pop songs in my head, and I just wanted to have a little fun. So I recorded another album called Even While We Sleep, and just piano instrumentals of my favorite 80s songs. Just a very different project than anything that I usually do. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's good to do something different every now and then, isn't it? And
It
which is
is.
great. But let me take you back, Phil.
Okay.
And actually, if I do the maths, we're going 22 years to when you first
Yikes.
wrote a little song called "I Surrender."
Yeah.
And this is, I guess, almost being like a theme tune of your life. I have to
Mm.
say, it's one I've used a lot, and actually, 22 years. I mean, I've been in Scotland for 23 years, so it's kind of lived with me my whole time being up in Scotland.
Yeah. Well.
And has had a couple of different iterations over the time. It's gone faster, gone slower. Your 20th anniversary edition. Just kind of bring the listeners into the story of "I Surrender."
Sure. That song is yeah, it's been a cornerstone for me. When I first got married, so that song was written a year into my marriage,
Hmm.
and I was at a time in my life. This was, as you mentioned, all those years ago. I was at a time in my life where just didn't really have a sense of where I should go. It just seemed that the questions were innumerable, and the uncertainty overwhelming. So I can very vividly remember walking down the street outside my house and processing these things with the Lord, and just came to a point where I knew that it was not going to work for me to try to. I needed to surrender. I needed to let go of control and trying to manipulate outcomes, all that kind of stuff. And God just brought me back to these words, and I said, okay, Lord, I surrender. And I kind of sensed that God saying, what do you surrender? It's easy to
Wow.
say I surrender. Okay, well, what do you surrender? Okay, well, just my life, my whole life. And then I just started to list the things that I was surrendering. And so that song has become something that God continues to bring me back to remind me that my life is not my own, that to quote another song, I'm in his hands. he has the best things planned for me, and that he can be trusted to, when I surrender to him, he's going to do good things.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing, and certainly kind of emulates everything that happens here at Pure as well. And it's so true what you said. It's very easy for us to kind of recite off those things. Oh yes, I surrender, and I can, but there is that challenge. Yeah, what is it you're
Yeah,
doing?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
which is beautiful. Yeah, and it's a wonderful song to have for ministry there. And
Thanks,
I mean,
Dad.
bless you for putting it out there and continuing to surrender all you're doing to God. So, with that in mind, kind of what's happening now? What's on the agenda for you coming forward?
A lot of exciting things, actually. I think I can say this now. I have just been. It's not official, but it's all but official. Is The Salvation Army in the States are having an emphasis coming up on ministry, children in worship and prayer through a grant that they've just gotten. And I'm going to be working on curriculum and resources, new music specifically geared towards the kids that come to the Salvation Army camping program throughout the States and Canada. And so it'll be something that gets used as a curriculum for them during the weeks at camp, and then that they can take home with them, that their core officers and them can use when they get back. So I'm super excited about that. It blends my heart for children, which I started out in camping ministry all those years ago, and my love for music, and it just kind of blends everything together. I'm super excited about that.
That's an amazing project, and we do have a number of listeners over in the States as well, so I'm sure they'll be looking out for that one directly.
Absolutely.
That's an awesome project. So have you started anything on that, or your mind starting to put things together?
I have, every composer is different, but the way I'm always writing, I'm always writing, and I'm always not quite sure what some things I write are going to be used for, but I've had several songs that are definitely geared towards children that I think are going to work well. And of course, there will be new songs as well.
That's absolutely beautiful. And, and obviously if stuff is put out there and it's something that we can play on the station, then I'm sure the team in the office will be able to get that on, and we'll continue to enjoy your music through the airwaves as well, and share that with all the Pure listeners over there. So, Phil, is there anything we can be praying for you for in your work, in your family, or whatever it may be at this time?
Yeah, I mean, this is I mentioned my wife and I, we have 3 kids, and we're in the last couple of years really of them being in high school. So we're kind of like this stage of life stuff. Just pray for our kids, especially, and us just figuring out this next stage of life. That'd be great. Thank you, Dan.
No, we'll all absolutely be doing that for you. As we close this, we're going to play "In the Love of Jesus" because I think it's a perfect way to kind of round off this interview. So the listeners can enjoy that. Phil Laeger's reimagining of "In the Love of Jesus." And just remain to say, Phil, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us here on Pure, and wish you every blessing, and we shall catch up again very soon, I'm sure.
Thanks, Dan.
Here at Pure 24/7 Radio, we have had the privilege of speaking to some amazing people with amazing stories.
Now, what about, I thought I'd go a bit further, what about goat and sheep's milk? Becoming quite popular. Very similar to cow's milk. So we don't use it in the first year of life, you can afterwards. And their nutrient profiles, how good they are, is pretty similar to cow's milk. Allergenicity, how often do they cause allergies? About the same. They're a bit more expensive sometimes. It's pretty equivalent.
Yeah, we're really excited, especially excited for Josh because it's his first book and he's really passionate with that Gen. Do you say Gen Z or Gen Z? I've heard it said in...
I don't know. I'm too old. I don't know.
Yeah, we're not in that age category, so we've not got a clue what they're called.
It's a pot boiler. It's a good, exciting popcorn thriller. I didn't think it was anything too special, but I think watching it at home, people will probably enjoy it more than I did going to the cinema to see it. Really good film.
I love it. I walk into a cinema and I turn my phone off. Nobody can get hold of me for a couple of hours. I'm in a completely other world. Every single time I go to the cinema, and for me, it's like going to Oz. It's like going to another world and escaping and relaxing, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
If you have missed any of these interviews or would like to hear them again, you can. Simply head over to our catch-up section at www.pure247radio.org. That's www.pure247radio.org.